Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Begin Again podcast, where we discuss all things starting afresh. Today, in studio with me, I have a very good friend of mine. We've been friends for like decades and literally decades. And let me first introduce her. So she's a mom of two beautiful babies. She's an engineer by profession. She's the founder of MV Tutors. And today she's agreed to be my guest. Tsholo, Manana, Mrs. Manana.
Oh, yeah.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, my friend. And how are you?
I'm good. Okay. For the people that do not know you, tell us about where you grew up and how your childhood was.
Okay. So I grew up in Garankuwa.
Okay.
Yeah, Godi Heights, Garanga.
Yes.
And how did I grow up? How was my childhood? It was normal. It was good. Grew up with both parents.
Okay.
Yeah, married. I have a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I just love to play, guys. I was disappointed when I went to high school. All of a sudden, my friends were like, "We're not playing anymore." I'm like, "Okay, so what are we doing?" Guys, we went from skipping rope to Khadi. Okay, that's Khadi, but yeah, to Skomburiti, Skopti ball. And now high school came, my friends were like, "No, so we're just gonna walk the streets." And I'm like,
not walk the street.
We were just walking.
Oh my God. Okay. So tell us about your business, MV Tutors. What inspired that? And what was that journey like, starting MV Tutors? Also tell us what it's about.
Okay. So MV Tutors, it's our baby, my husband and I's baby. So we got married in 2016, right? And in that year, I've always had a thing for tutoring maths, right? I remember even in high school, I could hopela maben, Tamiso.
Yes. Hi, Tamiso.
Hey, he's a doctor now, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Dr. Mabena.
Yes.
And some of my friends wouldn't understand maths, so I would be glad to help. Even when I
was one of those friends.
Always she went to maths literacy. Why?
Back to you, girl.
And when I would study maths or when I would practice, I would practice it with the intention of also being able to teach it to others.
Wow.
Yeah, so that, because I knew the struggle was real with some people, and that's where the love came. So in 2015, when I started working, I'm a civil engineer, by the way. Yeah. I started working, I was conflicted a bit. I'm like, I'm an engineer. I studied it,
Yeah.
But I think I love the tutoring side.
Wow.
But I'm still an engineer. I didn't leave because I did my research and people are like, don't switch. Yeah. Teaching is not that glamorous.
Yeah.
And so I remember my uncle's wife, she was upgrading and she's like, "Please help me," but I never got the time to do it. Okay. So I had it in me that I want to start. And then when I got married, my husband is a doer. I'm a talker.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like, yes, we should do tutoring. He's like, "Okay, fine, let's start." He registered the company.
Wow.
And we're like, what's the name going to be? Like Manana Ventures. We are venturing. And it's not just going to be tutoring. It's other things as well. We're doing engineering. We're doing property. So MV it's for Manana Ventures. We are venturing. So we are ventured into tutoring. So MV Tutors.
When love is done right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And actually my husband and I, whenever we went on dates, we would actually help other people with their assignments. We would do the problems. Wow. And I'm like, "How did you solve it?" I will solve it so, or okay, actually you solved it better. And I would look at him like, no, honestly, oh my God. Not only are we connecting on a spiritual level, because he was also serving in church. I'm like, not only are we just going to church, we both serve. He also loves maths. And when I say, "Let's do this," he's like taking it further. It's like, "Okay, fine, you want to tutor maths, let's start." Wow. Register a company. Here's the name. Let's go find clients. Let's advertise. He's like a doer.
Wow. So how many clients did you guys managed to get ever since you guys started? When was the inception?
2016 August.
Yeah. And how many clients would you guys say you have helped or that have come?
Oh, it's a lot.
Really?
It's a lot because we started out saying we want from grade 10 to 12.
Okay.
Most of the clients would be grade 12. So you get them this year, you lose them, you start again.
Yeah.
You start, so it's been a lot. I think maybe I would say close to 100 over time. Maria Bora, because Otama have begin again.
Literally,
yes. Now you have to get
new students.
But yeah, it's great. Yeah, and we have gone now and created a YouTube channel even. The drama there.
Yes.
So and now we've expanded now to actually getting more tutors. So it's not just gonna be myself and him.
Wow. So you guys are hiring as well?
We are hiring. We have to expand because it's busy.
So if people want to apply, where do they apply?
Visit our website at www.mvtutors.co.za.
Oh, okay. All right. So, thank you for giving us that background. The topic that I want us to talk about today, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, how did we jump from there to this? But I think it's important because in our journeys of starting afresh and beginning again and moving into the unknown, there's a certain level of faith that's required.
Yeah.
And I want us to talk about that. I want us to talk about having a relationship with God and just tell us about where your journey with God started, how it started, and we'll continue from there. Yes.
I am blessed that I grew up in a Christian family, and a father who ensures that we go to church every Sunday.
Okay.
It's been said many times, if the dad goes to church, everybody will go to church.
Yes.
So my father's very strict. He's very disciplined. So Sunday we knew we were going to church. So, but for me, going to church was like, it's a thing that we do. Until in primary, I met a friend of mine who had a relationship. Oh, hopefully she still has. I think she does. Has a relationship with God. And I mean, I had at that point in time, never taken the time to take the Bible to read it.
Yeah.
She had her own Bible.
Wow.
In primary school, we had assembly. They would say, go to this book, chapter mama, verse mama. I
don't even know what the chapter is or the verse. Yeah.
I don't even understand this thing, a versely chapter.
Yes.
So I saw her, she would read the Bible. She knew how to quote scriptures. She knew how to pray. She came to our home one time, she prayed. And I'm like,
how old were you then?
10 years old, grade 4.
She was lit.
I'm like, how does she pray like that? And my parents were like, you pray. I'm like, since when do I pray? So at home, we were very good at going to church, but we didn't really have like Bible study time.
Yeah.
I think my parents were more doers of the word. I think that is very important as well. So then I became a doer of the word without even realizing it.
Yeah.
But not a reader, and I didn't really understand the word. So it was through her that I saw. And she didn't teach me. I just saw it.
Yeah.
She would read the word. And another thing that was attractive, she passed like getting distinctions while I was failing.
Wow.
So I'm like, I have a friend who's Craig. These days we call them Body Craig.
Yeah. Back in the day.
So I learned a lot from her. I learned that even being born again, and she's like, are you born again? I'm like, what are you talking about, being born again? Like all these basic principles I learned from her, and I took it upon myself. Not to say I was in competition with her, but when you're in the presence of someone who's doing better, you also want to achieve.
Yeah.
So academics, she was excellent. I was like, I'm not going to be that dumb friend with the smart friend.
Yes.
So that started my journey also with academics.
Okay.
And I'm not going to be that friend who is with a spiritual friend, whereas I'm shaky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm glad also that God orchestrated my life, that I'm attracted to friends who are godly.
Yeah.
So that's where the journey started. That's where the seed was sown. Just seeing her live out the word, read the word, practice, pray. Like, I remember, there was that stoat season in school where people would come with porn and whatever.
Yes.
So we had friends who had older siblings who had porn and would come with it, would go hide, go toilet. I don't want. And she would sit there, like my passaging at the toilet, like, you guys are sinning. This is wrong.
Imagine.
And I'm like, girl, we're not doing it. We're just watching it. Can again go in?
Yeah.
And I would then understand later she was right, because that seed that was sown as well, watching porn, you don't know what it does to you. You don't know what gate you're opening.
Yeah.
and what things are entering and will manifest
Absolutely.
later on.
Yeah.
So I would say that's where the journey started. And
Okay.
and from there I was like, yeah. But in terms of being born again, it was in high school.
Why? What happened in high school?
No, we nothing. Okay, even that with the born again, you know, when you go to church, charismatic churches, especially when they have the altar call. So we went to a Methodist church, but whenever I would visit churches that charismatic, they would have an altar call. I didn't understand it, guys. I'm sure I was born again like 100 times because I would raise my hand every Sunday.
The club.
I didn't understand, but it was only in high school. So during break, there was this lady, our friend Bongiwe.
Okay.
She would host a Bible study during break time. So it was through that time, and she would preach the word and explain what it means to be born again. And I'm like, yeah, actually, you know what? I would like that. I want that to deepen my relationship with God. Actually have a personal relationship with God. And I bought my first Bible then in high school. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I want you to dissect it for the people who might be new to the Christian faith. Someone just received Christ and they don't necessarily know like what steps to take next. You know, sometimes in churches we do the whole salvation prayer, and then they say give your details to this pastor or this deacon, and then we'll do follow-ups, and then the follow-ups don't happen sometimes. So what would you say someone needs to do once they've received Christ? Just break it down for us. Day one, what does that look like? What do I do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think even maybe that's why we were born again many times.
Yes.
Raised our hands every Sunday, because there's no follow-up. And one thing I think sometimes we miss as Christians is we were called to be disciples. So discipleship is very important, and discipleship can be straining. It takes a lot of effort because you're building a relationship. And so you've just received Christ, then what? Then what? What I would say is, I wouldn't even say it's supposed to happen, but honestly, there should be a follow-up. So I mean, what we do now at church, whoever invited you, would say that person is your disciple, who invited you to church, but you also form part of a home cell. So I would say after getting born again, get involved in the church. Sometimes you will not have someone come after you and do a follow-up with you. So get involved. And I think that's what I did, because I didn't have anyone coming and following up after me. And when I did, I remember when I went to varsity, again, same story, raising of hands. And someone followed up with me and they're like, join a cell. And I didn't like that, honestly. Like, ooh, who are you? Like, why are you calling me? Are you one of those telemarketers?
Yes.
But within our race, there was a cell. So I went to cell. I made sure that I go to cell. So if you've just been recently born again, make sure you form part of the activities at church. Ask what's happening. What can I do? Which department can I be a part of? Start with home cell. Okay.
So the first thing would be to join a connect group or like a home cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that church as well that you got born again, and I'm hoping, or I'm assuming that that's the church that you actually go to. Commit. Start going to home cell. Start serving as well. The Bible normally says the greatest in the kingdom is the one who serves. So don't sit there waiting to be served. Make that initiative to serve. Look at a ministry department that you would like to be part of. I liked being an usher when I started off.
Were you an usher?
I was an usher.
Well, girl, with that smile, I'm not surprised. Okay, so you would welcome the people in the church?
I enjoyed that. Welcoming them, showing people where to sit, cleaning afterwards. I don't mind. My love language is acts of service. So I don't want to be talking.
Okay.
So I was like, serving, just keep quiet, do. So I did. And I think through that as well, I mean, our home cell leader, they would ask, how are you doing? It takes time for you to open up to people, but the more you serve with them and do life with them, that's when you get to open up. And get a Bible, read. Make sure you're in a Bible-based church where they actually teach the word. I think that's something that's missing
nowadays.
Yeah,
sometimes.
we're too focused on the hype, the songs, the other things that are happening, the prophetic, or
Yes.
but we don't dwell deep into the Word of God and actually reading and knowing who is this God that we are serving. What is He
Yeah.
saying to me? How do I pray?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. So I love what you just said. So, sometimes we go to church and you hear a man of God or a woman of God say, God said this to me.
Mm-hmm.
God instructed me to do this,
Mm-hmm.
I've had those moments, by the way.
Yeah.
But I literally had my first moment this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine, after being Christian for like most of my life, and the first time I hear God was this year.
Mm-hmm.
Other times it would just be me reading my Bible
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like, okay, you know what they said, God speaks through His word.
Yeah.
So whatever verse or chapter I'd come across, I'd feel like, okay, maybe this is what God wants me to do, or this is the direction He wants me to take. But for the first time, I can honestly say, you know what,
I heard you, God.
Lord, I heard you, was this year.
Wow.
So I want you to tell us about, what is that like? What am I looking for when I want to hear God speak to me?
Yeah.
Like, because
you're expecting this big voice.
Let's not play like we know this thing. Eh? Like, how sometimes it'll be like, like, is that what I'm waiting for? Or
it is Jehovah Jireh.
Yes, I am the Lord. No, like, seriously, tell us, what are we supposed to be listening for?
I don't want to talk as if I'm prescribing medication.
Yes.
Like, these are the signs.
These are like
the steps.
Check. But okay, in your experience, because you're a woman that has accomplished a lot, you seem like you've got it together with your household, and you're married. You've been married 4 years. So I think for those of us that want to learn from you, like, what was it that you felt or that you experienced from your own opinion? We're not prescribing anything. We're not prescribing, but from your experience, what was it that happened where you felt like, you know what, God just spoke to me?
It was being intentional about seeking Him.
Okay.
That verse that says, draw near to me and I'll draw near to you. God is like there waiting for us, guys. He's like, Banamaga, like, I love you so much.
Yeah.
I actually read that the other day, Psalm 119, verse 149. And in His loving kindness, like, He's there just waiting for us, hearing our cries. Get in. Like, we're the ones who draw back.
Yeah.
Oh, we think we hear something and then we leave Him and then we come back.
Yeah.
Burned. I'm literally imagining a cartoon character.
Yeah,
okay.
Me too.
Okay, Lord, I didn't hear. We don't stay long enough in His presence. So for me, it's being intentionally seeking Him. And I think it was when I had to make decisions, like serious decisions. Firstly, my husband. I mean, when I met him, I'm like, yo, Lord, He is the one. Oh my gosh, He serves. He loves you. He's an engineer. And during the courtship, it was tough. And I was like, okay, I want to leave.
Yeah.
Then I had to seek God because I'm like, is He the one? And I thought I heard you say, yes, Lord. But I don't feel like He's the one anymore. So I want to leave. And He was like, no, baby girl, you can't just leave. I approve this. So I had to seek Him because I knew I'm a wrong partner. Hey, who ruined things. So I was like, and for me, divorce honestly is not an option. And I hear some people are like, keep on living. You'll see,
Yeah.
So I was like, if I'm entering, and I'm coming from a family where we don't know divorce as well. So I'm like, Lord, I had to actively seek Him, be intentional about seeking Him. And I'm like, I need to hear from you telling me. And He did. I remember at that time I was at this church called CRC and they had Dream Week. They're actually having it now.
Okay.
And I went there to Dream Week, not because of vibes. Before it would be a vibe thing. So I was like, I'm going there because I want to know if this is the one.
Okay.
Whether I'm feeling Him or not, if I know He's the one, this is what we're doing.
Okay.
And I promise you, God, the first day, the first service,
What did you do? Did you fast when you went to Dream Week?
No, I didn't fast.
Oh, okay.
I know sometimes, we're like, let's fast them.
Because seeking the face of God sometimes can be associated with, you have to fast.
You have to fast. You have to. Like I said, I'm not prescribing anything.
Yeah.
I had to intentionally seek him. Okay. We did fast in our courtship, my husband and I.
Okay.
That we did together, you know. But I wanted to hear first. So before even the fast came, I'm like, I want to hear from God. And he didn't waste time. Got the first day at Dream Week, the first service, the first speaker. I remember he was like speaking to me. And he was like, this is it. This is the one. Don't look any further. And I sunk in my chair. And I cried. I was like, I know I wanted to get married in my 20s, but this is too soon. This is too real. Yeah. So he answered me. He didn't waste time. He answered me through his word. Through also the pastor speaking. Yeah. Okay. So I sought him. And another time I actively wanted to hear him was, where will I be working? Okay. Because also, not only the spouse, but the company that you work at will also affect you because you're spending the majority of your day there. So again, I think that time, did I fast? No, I didn't. I've had moments of fasting. Yeah. But I don't think, moments of fasting were to unlock maybe certain areas of my life. Where like, Lord, I feel like I've reached a block. Yeah. I'm going to take time to fast for you to come through. Yeah. But when I wanted to hear him, I was like intentional. I'm like, Lord, I'm working for this company. You open doors here. There's a Joburg office. There's a Centurion office. Where should I work? Yeah. And as soon as I closed my eyes, Centurion, it was like Pretoria. Stay in Pretoria. Yeah. And I have a theory. I feel like Joburg has the spirit of buffet. Girl. Honestly, I feel like there are principalities over cities. Joburg is fast. Kana buffet again, gaskua.
I don't know. Looseness.
Yeah. Promiscuity. It is, and it's okay. No, promiscuity is everywhere. Yeah. But I feel like it's accepted. It's a norm. You can do whatever. Fornicate. It's okay. You know? I felt like Joburg had that spirit. And if I were to be in Joburg, I probably wouldn't be married. You know? Whereas Pretoria is more family oriented. Yeah, that's me. Pretoria has its things. I mean, there's there's apartheid. Apparently here the predominating spirit there is like racism. So each city has its
own.
But God was very clear. And for me that was a voice. I didn't hear it through a sermon or through the word. It was just Centurion. I heard it. Okay. It was clear.
So you heard a voice say.
Yeah. And I can't even say whose voice was it. It wasn't Centurion. Yeah. It was probably, I don't know. It's like how you dream. When you dream, in what voice are you dreaming in?
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, but it's you know, you were in a dream. Yeah. So I think major parts, but even small things as well. I think we always think hearing from God has to do with major things. But I'm just going to state the major things. Like also the time for us to start having kids. Like my firstborn, Busani, God was talking to me through dreams. Like, girl, it is time.
Wow.
Yeah. So he speaks differently. So it could be through his word, through someone else, a voice, through a dream. But hey, dreams, let's be careful because, sometimes you can take dreams too literal.
Yes. I remember I was about to ask that because, I believe God speaks to me through my dreams. Yeah. And sometimes I'll have like a notepad next to my bed. And then the moment I wake up, if the notepad is not there, then I'll do a quick voice note on my phone to say what happened in the dream. Because I saw a man of God on YouTube, I can't remember his name, speak about the fact that God speaks to us through our dreams. So I think ever since I got that revelation, I'm so like, every time I wake up, I'm like...
It's not the first time I'm hearing it. There's also this lady I came across recently. She's an American Nigerian. And she's also spoken about that. Listen, I dream a lot, but some of them no, those are...
those are
you
not...
You need to discern.
Yeah, you need to discern.
Which dreams you should take seriously or not. So that's why I'm saying be cautious. Okay. Be cautious. And I think it all boils down to this. Spending time with God. The more you spend time with someone, the more you're likely to hear from them. The more you are likely to hear their voice, because every day there are a lot of voices speaking. Honestly, I mean,
Yeah.
the devil is also putting
Speaking.
thoughts
Yes.
in your mind, you know.
Yes.
And so when you spend time with God in His Word, being intentional about it, you can discern, okay, here, this is God speaking. And you know, in your heart of hearts, I mean, how many times have we felt it in our spirit, we shouldn't do something and we did it and then we regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So God has spoken. I remember, I think this one time I had broken up. I had
Saddam. When
we had broken up.
My friend was crazy about this boy.
High school
High
stuff.
school.
And I thought this was the one. But I had made it up in my mind, this is the one. And we broke up. Not butlaila, but I remember coming to him and saying, we should do things according to God's word. We claim we love God and we put him first, but we don't. So let's put him first for real. And then I was like, we're not really putting him for real first, like honestly. So let's just, this is not working out. So we broke up. And I remember I went to church after the breakup, and then there was another guy. And I'm like, God, so soon. Like
I'm not ready, Lord.
And then this maybe I met this guy at church. So I remember walking in the aisle of those chairs, and I saw him. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. And I spoke to him. We didn't even exchange names or numbers or anything like that. And while talking to him, by the way, he was also an engineer. I'm like, oh my, civil engineer. That time I needed VAC work. Oh gosh, things are aligning. But I didn't even ask for another person. I'm still getting over that one. As I was talking to this guy, he establishes, I'm studying civil engineering. I'm establishing, he's an engineer.
Yeah.
And I could hear the Holy Spirit say, like, finish it. If it lets on, don't even go.
It.
Yeah. During praise and worship, I could see he's not really feeling it. God was like, Holy Spirit was like, one more, he's not really into this.
He's just here to tick box.
Yeah. So the service, my friend, the pastor was like, if you're single, please stay single. Did all of that not? How many times did God speak?
Like a ton of bricks.
He spoke from the beginning to the end. Mogela irang.
Wajol.
At the end of the service, I was like, God, I heard you. You spoke. We didn't we didn't exchange numbers. I didn't even know his name. He was walking in front of me. I'm like, but God, if this guy turns around, I'm not promising anything. What did the guy do?
He turned around and saw my girl.
Robert left. And my friend, roller coaster I was like, and it wasn't even a formal thing of I'm your girlfriend, you're my boyfriend. No. But there I learned. I was that person who when got burned came back in ashes. Dry and ashy.
Girl.
And when I thought God was going to be like, he was like, and he dressed me and covered me with his blood. And he's like, I'm going to make you clean again. Let's start again. You know, I didn't listen. And for me, if there's anything, okay, it was a lesson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to say it was a regret, but I'm glad I went through it because now I learned, do not sacrifice. When God says, obey me, obey. And the fact that God sent out so many warnings in a short space of time, and I neglected those warnings. I'm like, God does speak.
Yeah. You know, when you say that, you're reminding me of an experience that I went through. You know, sometimes in churches they'll say, or not in churches, but the church that I currently go to. Yeah, the pastor was talking about how we need to be expectant. Like when the week starts, start being expectant of what God will do and declare what you're expectant of God to do, you know. And I just want to say, just to add on to what you were saying, sometimes we pray and we think it's nice to make that prayer, right? But then when God actually does things, now it's just like, no, I don't think I was ready for that. You know what I mean? So I think the takeaway that we can also have is be ready for the aftermath of what you're asking God to do, especially for some of us who are saying, God, if this person is not supposed to be in my life, please remove him. Or if I'm not supposed to have this person as a friend, please reveal it.
Yeah.
Because when God does it, because he will do it, are you really going to be faithful, Luena, to be obedient, you know? But I want to move on to something that I watched, and I want us to discuss it because it blew my mind. And I think, if I'm being honest, that was the reason for a lot of changes that I made this year. You know, I watched a podcast, a lady by the name of Michelle Expert, who I love. I love her content on YouTube. And she was speaking to an interior designer, and the interior designer spoke about how she joined this competition. And when she was in the competition, she paired up with some chick or some lady that she knew, that she had made from a market. And then she says the first time that, you know, they showed up to present their designs, they lost. Second time they lost. Third time they lost. And then she says she went back and she was like, no, God, wait. And she even told this person that she was paired up with her, I'm not used to losing. I this is not me. I don't lose. And I found that to be so profound because and she was speaking like that because she says her knowledge of who God is in her life is, listen, God always pulls through for her, you know? And I think it made me look inward. But okay, wait, with all of the losses that I've incurred, do I maybe not have the right interpretation or the right understanding of the character of God? You know, and I want us to talk about, what do you understand, or who do you know God to be for you personally?
He's a father.
Okay.
He's a father. And you know, a father, so a father, he protects. A father provides. A father corrects. And I think, I've experienced him that way. And it helps for me to actually have a father. That relationship that I have with my dad. The way he covers us, provides for us. Like he's our man. He's just an amazing father. So I relate with God that way. And what I know, my dad is strict. Both my parents, actually, they're strict. My dad is strict, and I mean, I'm glad he was, because I am the woman that I am today because of that. So he wouldn't allow a lot of things. So even with God, I feel like he wouldn't necessarily not allow me to go through certain things. But he is also strict. So how I have experienced God is he will allow even failure sometimes, just to remind me, like what you just watched. She's not used to failing. You know, I think we all go through that, where because at some point you think you are great, and you need to be humbled just a little bit, just to be reminded that, you know, don't blow your own horn. So God sometimes reminds us as well that, listen, I'm still the one who's in control here. So let's back up a bit, because I think you're running ahead of me.
Come back to me.
Come back to
me, little girl.
Because even my dad has humbled me in quite a few times. You know, like, Papa, why would you do this? You know, so that's how I would relate to God, first and foremost as a father, and then as a friend. Because sometimes having that father relationship, you feel like you can't talk about certain things with your dad. Like, he's my dad, and then it ends there. But God comes and says, I'm also a friend. You know, so come, let's chat, let's have a laugh. You know, like, God loves. This one moment I just had a revelation. Like, God, you do love. You actually have a sense of humor. The fact that I'm made in your image, you know? So you must be also like a friend as well.
Okay. And then there's something I wanted to ask. Now it's just, yes. You recently made a post on TikTok about Songs of Solomon. Okay. And that spoke to me so much. And I want us to dissect that. Okay. You spoke about love is great when love is at the right time or in its time. Something like that.
So that's what Solomon says. He says, do not awaken love until it's the right time.
Songs of Solomon.
Songs of Solomon. I think it's chapter 3, verse 3 to 5 or something. Okay. Not good with quoting. So if I'm wrong, please comment
Bible
there.
Scholars in the comment section. Let us know. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. So Solomon does say, do not awaken love until it is time. Other versions say, do not awaken love until it so desires.
Okay.
So until the right time comes. And when my husband and I were reading that, I love reading the word with my husband. He's a great teacher. He's so gentle. Yeah, and he just, the revelations that a man will get as opposed to a woman, the way we think differently and how, husbands have a role, guys. Yes. They are the head for a reason.
Wow, so, I love that.
So thank you, love, for being the head of our family. So when we were discussing that, I was thinking literally of our kids. Because my son, he was in creche, he keeps saying, yeah, my girlfriend is mama. And we laugh about it. But sometimes you're like, man. You know what?
Let's get to the bottom of this. No, let's not entertain this nonsense.
His intention is, I'm gonna marry such and such. I'm like, okay. But yeah, I thought about our kids because prior to that verse, it talks about this girl who was looking for her lover in the city and then took her to her mother's house on her mother's bed.
Took the lover.
Took the lover. Did I say took her?
Yeah.
Ooh,
took him.
Took him.
Took him.
Yes, so she took him, her lover, to her mother's house and to the mother's bed, like where she was conceived, so obviously. So I, in my mind, I'm like, imagine my kids bringing the so-called
girlfriends,
or a boyfriend in the case of my daughter, and onto our bed. The disrespect. So it started there. I was like, yo, love, let's pray over our kids so that they don't awaken love at the wrong time. And our parents were like, Liska Jolang, don't get into relationships. You're still young. There's still time. I don't think they dwell deeper or explain why.
Yeah.
Explaining soul ties that might form unnecessarily. Explain that you're just taking things from this person's side of the family, and then you're coming to don't engage. They didn't explain why. They just said don't do it.
Yes.
So my husband and I were praying over our kids. We're like, let them not awaken love until it so desires. And if they do, let us guide them and
Wow.
Yeah. So and then as I was thinking about it, I'm like, even in you being older, it doesn't mean because you're older you must just get into any relationship.
Exactly.
And in my mind, sorry for those who watch Skim Sam who know what happened to Principal Tubakale.
You see, awaken Iona. Guys,
I mean, she's in her old age, but and Kanya Ho came
and literally turned her life upside down.
Literally.
Guys.
So it's not even an age thing.
Yes.
It can be in any stage of your life.
Yes.
Someone can come in and hopefully a significant other can literally ruin or better your life. And that is where we need to go back to God and be like, God, is it the right time? And sometimes you might feel like it's not the right time. That's why it's dangerous to also follow feelings. It didn't say if it feels like it's the right time.
Exactly.
No, it says when it's the right time. Then, let love take its course. So even, so even with me, when it was time for me to get married, like I said, I wrestled with God. I was like, the feelings are gone. Surely we should break up.
Yeah.
But I had to make a decision regardless of feelings.
Yes.
Because feelings are not going to sustain a marriage.
Wow.
Feelings come and go.
Yes.
So as long as you know that this is it, this is the person, I'm going to build with them, the foundational stuff.
Yeah.
We got it on lockdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, we are almost out of time, my friend. I want you to, I like to allow my guests to just say a word or two of encouragement to anyone that might be starting afresh. We are Begin Again podcast because I feel like we speak to the audience of people who might be going through different seasons, you know, change in career, change in geographical location where they stay, a change in relationship. Maybe somebody could be going through a divorce. Maybe somebody could have just lost their job and they just feel like, I don't know if I can start afresh, essentially. So just a few words of encouragement to encourage someone that might be watching.
It's tough. I'm an engineer, right?
Yeah.
And in our industry, things always change.
Wow. Okay.
So we are like beginning again, and I don't like change, guys. I think as human beings, we don't like change, especially once we've gotten into a routine of how things are done.
Yeah.
But change is one thing that we can't change.
Yeah.
It will always be there, and we need to be adaptable to that change. So I would say, and it might be a little bit different for others, but when you think about how life is such a gift, and I'm saying this because, geez, I feel like every week we're hearing someone passing away.
Yes.
Just knowing that you are alive today. And knowing that God's mercies are new every day. It's an opportunity to begin again. Like on Wednesday, I was complaining to God that I took leave, but I didn't really rest. I wanted to rest, take leave for resting, and I haven't rested, God. And I was frustrated, and I realized that I actually haven't been spending time with God recently.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'd read the Bible with my husband, but what about my personal time with him? And it was so good and refreshing just to begin again with God.
Yeah.
Because we always begin again. Like, God, I think I ran ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Can I come back and just spend time with you?
Yeah.
And the verse that I read was, in his loving kindness, he listens to us when we cry, you know. So when you're going through that tough time, just remember that you can always run back to God. Sort of like do factory setting.
Yeah.
Begin again. Let him remind you, first of all, who he made you to be. Who are you?
Yeah.
I've started doing this declarations thing with my son in the morning to say, you're a champion. Like, I'm a champion. I'm a champion. I'm cute. I'm smart.
Yes.
I'm going to, conquer this day. It's going to be great. I'm going to listen to my teachers because he's a little bit naughty.
Yeah.
So just, and he likes that. So before we get to the gate, he's like, I'm a champion. I'm like, oh, yeah. Yes, I'm a champion. I'm cute. Okay, let's wipe that snot. Okay, I'm cute. I'm smart. You know. So I think we also need to do that as as people.
You're right.
Go back to God, spend time with him. Go back to his promises. What does he say about you? And believe that. You know, the fact that you're alive and you're breathing is an opportunity to begin again and rewrite your story. It's really up to you. The ball is in your court, but I would advise and say, please don't give up. And it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Try to look for the positives and try to link up yourself with positive people as well, who are where you actually want to be, not those who want to draw you back to where they are.
Yes. You know, when you say that, you're reminding me of a quote that I read that says, people smarter than you are a gift, not a threat. You know, so I love that you're saying that. Align yourself with people that are where you want to be, where you see yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
11 guys.
Yes, guys. If you have watched the video up until now, please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel so that we can get more amazing guests. And we've come to the end of the episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.